For somebody who's never heard of the concept of patient-engaged research, imagine a conference table in an office somewhere, and you have a seat at the table beside the researchers, and you guys are in conversation with each other, and you're sharing ideas, and they're listening to your ideas, and they're taking notes on your ideas. It makes me feel hopeful.
Patient-engaged research is so valuable simply because I know certain language and the researcher may know this in a different language, and the patient doesn't necessarily understand what the researcher is looking for. So by having both of us work on this together, we can share things and move this research ahead.
It's not just the physicians, the scientists that come up with the questions. We are actively hearing the voice of the patients, the people that are directly affected with the disease. Every day I learn something new from the patient, the caretaker, that you just can't read in a textbook.
You're having the opportunity to have input into that study in a way that you may not have been able to before. You're going to be heard. Your opinion's going to be valued.
Patients and care partners that want to participate in patient-engaged research need to have the confidence to come to the table knowing that they have expertise that the researchers don't have.
By adding that lived experience, patient-engaged research fills in the blanks. My experience with IPF started in May of 2020. My husband's been the fortunate recipient of a double lung transplant. And I look back at his experience and I see all of the insidious features of the disease. He gradually deteriorated, and it was a daily process.
I see them for 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time, but this is the patient's entire life. They have to deal with this coming into my office, leaving my office, going to the grocery store, and every other aspect. They're never asked their input, they're never asked for guidance, they're never asked for insight within the question. So they're not used to having their voice heard. You might have the same letters after your name, but that doesn't mean your experience is any less valuable.
What it means to have oxygen all the time, and what I have to go through in order to move my cable up and down the steps at home. I was very excited to say I have made some valuable input to this process.
This is literally new territory in the field of pulmonary fibrosis. We are so rushed and we are so harried to get things done, and here we are actually taking the time to listen to each other. This is where change happens.
The reason you get involved is not for today. The reason you get involved is for the next generation of people. So that when that doctor comes in the office and says you have IPF and you go online, you find out that it's not the horrible disease that says you're going to die in 3 years.
Concentrate on the things you can control rather than the things you cannot control. I guess that's one of the things I can control, whether I participate or whether I just shut down and sit home. I can control whether or not I engage.
Managing IPF is tough. There's only 50,000 people a year that get diagnosed and 40,000 die. When you consider that, it's a small group. So how can I find out more about this? How can I help somebody else in the process?
I recently went to a walk for IPF, and I saw some other patients who were not yet the recipients. And I heard the cough, and I remembered the machines. And if it's that sort of experience that we can bring to the doctors so that they can understand the constancy of it, I'll be glad to do it.